Alright guys, we're back in my garage for another video, and today we are going to talk about xHP custom tuning. And this is something that was just recently announced by xHP. I know a lot of people were kind of curious and discussing in the background about custom transmission tunes, but we just really didn't know where to start. And now xHP has announced that they themselves will be offering custom tune services for the ZF8 transmission. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about a little bit on the details that they've provided, as well as answering some questions that I had and you guys had. So hopefully this gives you more information on if this is the route that you should go for your specific build. And as always, I'll have a link down in the description if you guys are interested in buying a custom tune from xHP. If anything in this video did support that, then definitely let them know you were motivated by me to buy their products. It really does help me out. Now, before we get into that, just a reminder, I do create these videos to help keep you guys updated on the latest developments in our community, as well as discuss technical topics so that we have a better understanding of how our engines work. So if you guys are interested in more videos like that, be sure to subscribe because there will be a lot more coming out in the future. So let's go ahead and talk about xHP custom tuning. And I think that this is a really big deal, even though a lot of people might not fully understand what these tunes can offer. It's not exactly like engine tuning, but there are still a lot of things that you can optimize in your transmission with a custom tune. So if you check out their page, they do specify a couple things that they're offering. For one, they can, of course, optimize the performance of your transmission. They're showing that it can even improve your quarter mile times by up to half a second in their testing. So that's, of course, a significant improvement. If you're a mid 10-second car, then you can move to a low 10-second or even a high 9-second car. So of course that can be a very significant improvement for you. Also, they can optimize the drive characteristics. And in some of my previous videos, I talked about, how all of those custom settings can help you really tailor things to what you're looking for. Well, if you're tired of playing with sliders or you just can't get it exactly right, that's something that they can do through a custom tune to really make it meet your specific needs and match your driving style. They can also fine tune the transmission based on your adaptations. And I'll be making a future video on how we can better understand the adaptations and diagnostic tools that are included in xHP. But when you really need somebody to take a deeper look at how your transmission is holding up and make sure that everything is set up for your specific trans without being too aggressive, maybe you have a higher mileage setup or, it was leaking for a little while and you're trying to get it fixed, they can set up a transmission tune that's still safe for your vehicle. So they do provide a couple examples on things that they can support. One big one, I think, is transmission swaps. So, for example, all of the B58 guys that are typically going from an HP50 to an HP70, they already have off-the-shelf maps for that, but they can also custom tune those. Of course, they can also custom tune built HP50s. So if you have a pure drivetrain solutions transmission, or I know some people are even just upgrading the internals and upgrading their clutches, they can tailor a specific custom tune for your setup as well. Also for the N55 guys, I know some of you still switch to like the DCT transmission from an M2. So if you've got an M2 trans in your 335, they can also custom tune your setup as well so that you get the best performance out of it. They can also do things like set up specific shift points. So if you want your car to have certain characteristics going uphill, downhill, or any kind of combination of dynamics and how your car drives around town, they can basically optimize your transmission performance for your specific situation. And of course, they can mix different stages. They actually even say, they can put the stage 3 shift points with smooth stage 1 shifts. And they might be advertising that one to me a little bit because I think I've mentioned that kind of specifically as a part of why I don't run the stage 3 off the shelf map in my car. So that would be something that's nice to have, have performance dialed in for your shift points and keeping the car up in the revs while having smooth, crisp shifts that don't feel too jerky in the car. They can also make really good eco tunes. So if you're one of those guys that drives, 50, 80 plus miles a day for work and you're just soaking up the miles on the highway, they can really tailor things so that you can get the best fuel economy possible and much, much more. Again, they've detailed everything on their website to give you guys an idea of some of their offerings. Now, the way that the process works is pretty simple. You're going to go ahead and buy the tune. And when you do that, they're going to send you a link to their custom service page. Now, in this page, you're going to put in your vehicle details, your turbo setup, trans setup, basically your driving style, as well as your goals. And be really specific here. If you just want the best performance possible, obviously they can do that. If you wanted to have certain driving characteristics in drive mode versus sport mode, or You want it to drive like stock when you're in comfort, but you want it to be full send and Sport Plus. Whatever that goal is for your setup, you want to detail all of that in this description, and they'll use that to develop a base map for your car. Now, when they send you the file, you'll flash it to your car, drive it around, and see how it works. And if you have any additional feedback, you can send that back to them. I believe you can even send them logs as well so that they can analyze it and check how the car is performing. And they will give up to 5 revisions based on your feedback. So they'll send you 5 additional modified maps to further tailor it to your goals and get your car dialed in. Now, one big question people have asked is, can they get more performance compared to drag mode? Because we know drag mode is the one where there are no limiters, everything's maxed out, and it's supposed to give you the best performance possible. So I did reach out to them and ask, and they did mention a couple things. One is when you're messing with the sliders and turning on settings in xHP, you kind of have a condensed version of what's actually possible in the transmission. They want to keep the app user friendly, so a lot of the sliders are limited, or like the increments that you use are not as fine-tuned as what they can provide in a custom tune. They also have additional maps available, things that you probably wouldn't think to modify or wouldn't know how to modify properly if you don't have a lot of experience. And their calibrators are able to modify that to further dial in your transmission for whatever you're trying to do. So just keep that in mind. They do feel like they can further tailor it and bring better performance even beyond drag mode. Again, it kind of depends on what your risks are and how much you're willing to go for your, specific performance goals. I mean, if you want your transmission just to have everything disabled, max out all your pressures, they can obviously do that. But this is more for like fine tuning to get things exactly how you want. Now, I'm still curious, probably like a lot of you, on what some of the things are that they changed. And they posted a couple pictures as a part of, the website where they're selling the tunes. So I blew up those pictures and I was just kind of curious, like, what are some of these things detailing? So you can kind of see in the first picture across the bottom, it's showing torque and Newton meters on the left. And then on the right, I believe that's German for RPM. I don't see what's on the left. They kind of cropped that out. But you can see they're basically getting a 3D table to dial in your transmission performance based on the engine torque and RPM. So I think that's really cool. I mean, that's kind of the stuff that you would see in an engine tune, and to think that they can dial things into that level in your transmission as well just shows how much you can actually optimize your setup. And then on the next picture, you can see that they're looking at the line pressure across the bottom. I'm assuming that is engine torque, or the torque that is reported by the DME. And then each of the bars shows what the actual line pressure is. And if you'll notice down low, below like 450 Newton meters, everything matches stock. But as things go up, it increases. So this is a nice thing that you can do instead of just doing the line pressure bump where everything is increased by 15%. In your custom tune, you can basically have it match regular pressures when you're driving around town and within the normal transmissions limits. And then when you're going above those limits, you can increase the pressures, and that'll give you faster, harder shifts and allow you to hold more torque. So again, just further dialed in for you, so when you're driving around town, you're not putting excess wear on the car, but when you really want to send it and race, you can get the best performance possible. Now, in the next picture you see, it's pretty simple. It's just showing that the shift speeds are reduced. So they're looking in seconds, going from 0.8 seconds to 0.4 for the 1-2 shift, from 0.78 to 0.46 for the 2-3 shift, and from 0.45 to 0.34 for the 3-4 shift. So I did talk about this a little bit in my last video. Like, I can even tell in my car every shift is a little bit different. And here they're kind of able to flatten that curve and make all the shifts much faster. So up to 50% improvement. I know our cars already shift fast, and you probably don't feel a whole lot in the car as far as what's happening during the shift. But think about it. If you're reducing your shift time by half a second, that's half a second less time that you've got to rebuild boost. That's half a second less time where you're not accelerating forward. So all of that can help translate into faster performance. And then the final picture is where they're showing the quick charge pressures. Again, we'll talk more about adaptations in a future video, but I think this is just to illustrate how they can look at your adaptations and diagnostics on your transmission to make sure that they're not overwhelming it and giving you a safe tune that will optimize your performance. So again, all around a win-win. It is a little bit expensive. It's much more expensive than just the regular combo pack. and the ZF8 version is more expensive than the 6-speed version for like the E90 cars. So you really got to decide if this is worth it to you. Obviously, you can play with sliders all day and continue dialing in your map, but this is something where just from an ease standpoint, you can have some experienced tuners set it up exactly how you want without any fuss. You do still need the flash license, but in this case, you probably shouldn't need to buy the map pack. So if you just want to go straight for a custom tune and you've been considering xHP, get the flash license, buy the custom tuning software, and then begin working on the custom maps for your car. So yeah, I think again this is a great option. I'm guessing that we're going to see more companies coming out with options like this as well, but it's cool to see the native tuning software company offer this to their customers. So hopefully we'll see more people discussing their kind of experience with how this is going and just getting more feedback. Keep an eye out on YouTube and all our Facebook groups for people posting up reviews. And yeah, I'm definitely hopeful for how this is all going to go. So that's it for me. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.